corporations and established industries are very important, the fact is they too are unlikely to create all the jobs needed for the future. So what we need to do is what you have been doing. Tap the creativity and innovation of citizens, men and women alike. I like to say that talent is universal, but opportunity is not. We can begin to change that if we find ways to unleash people's potential, help good ideas take root and flourish. And potential entrepreneurs are all around us. They are anyone with the imagination to conceive of a new product, process, or service, the ability, persistence, and sheer hard work to turn that idea into something real. Now, my father was an entrepreneur. He had a small fabric printing business, and he employed 1 or 2 workers to help him, depending upon the level of his business orders. But he also enlisted my mother, my brothers, and me. One of my earliest memories as a little girl is standing at a very long table on which a very long roll of cloth is laid, and helping to lift a screen, a silk screen, from place to place, and then helping to hold the squeegee of the paint to push it over the screen and then lift it up and continue down the table. So my father, who was a man of modest means, he didn't have a lot of money, he had no personal connections of any sort. It was just his sheer hard work, his shoe leather, and as well as his brain power. And he made his business succeed. Now, he did not become a millionaire or a billionaire, but he supported his family, he sent us to college, he gave us a very comfortable life through his own persistence, his self-confidence, and a willingness to take risks. Now, when I was growing up, we called that the American dream, and it attracted tens of millions of immigrants to our shores and still does. Entrepreneurship has been written into the DNA of the American people. But I have now traveled enough to see that there are people all over the world with the talent and the drive to achieve the same goals. So I have learned that this is also a universal dream. Earlier this week in Chennai in southern India, I visited the Working Women's Forum, a community organization that provides microfinance loans, training, and support so that very poor women can start their own small businesses and participate in the formal economy. I met a woman there who had come with her family as a refugee from Burma. She stood up in front of a very crowded room, including television cameras, and told her story in a very confident presentation. She talked about how when she arrived, she and her family had nothing, that there were predatory lenders charging high interest rates for what she wanted to do to start a small business to support herself and her family. She talked about the pressure she was under from her family members to stay home, but her answer was, well, who is going to put food on the table? Who is going to provide the means for us to send the children to school if we do not all work? And she ran into other obstacles that would have really paralyzed someone who was there all alone, but fortunately the Working Women's Forum was there to help her. She had none of the advantages that allow entrepreneurs to thrive, but when she joined this women's group, the door was finally open, and now she is supporting her family. She and her husband are sending their children to school, and they're following their own dreams. That's really what this summit is about. I mean, it talks about entrepreneurship, but it's really about dreams, isn't it? Because this story can be told millions of times over in every country on every continent. And we're here today because we believe in the power of opportunity and entrepreneurship to transform lives and lift up communities. And we're committed in the Obama administration to helping entrepreneurship grow further and faster all over the world. And this summit is evidence of that. But we need to tackle the obstacles. It's not enough just to bring together in one place experienced entrepreneurs and business leaders with young people with good ideas, even who have already started their businesses. We need to tackle the obstacles that entrepreneurs face. Cumbersome government regulations, corrupt officials who demand a bribe before issuing a business permit. And for women, like the woman I met in Chennai, cultural norms that might prevent her from handling money or owning land. The United States wants to work with you to bring down these barriers. That means reducing the time it takes to open a business here in this region. It means connecting entrepreneurs with investors, not only in their own countries, but outside them, as has happened here. Improving the business climate by protecting intellectual property rights. If you come up with a good idea, it should be protected so that you can then make the most of it and spin it off into who knows where it might go. And, of course, making it easier for foreign investors to find local projects worthy of support. And we particularly want to encourage women entrepreneurs because, as the minister said, no economy can thrive if it leaves half the population behind. In fact, a recent United Nations study estimated that in the Asia-Pacific region, the untapped potential of women has cost the region more than $40 billion in lost GDP over the last decade. So we're supporting new microfinance projects, building peer networks, and offering mentorships with American businesswomen. This really builds on what President Obama emphasized in his 2009 speech in Cairo and that we reaffirmed at the Entrepreneurship Summit last year in Washington. America became a global economic power by nurturing a culture of creativity and innovation, by setting the conditions in which entrepreneurs like my father could thrive and ideas could flourish. And we believe other countries can do exactly the same by embracing this model. That's why we created the Global Entrepreneurship Program and why we are supporting initiatives like Partnerships for a New Beginning, which recently opened a local chapter here in Indonesia. With a network of public and private partners, we are identifying promising entrepreneurs like all of you here, helping to train them, connecting them with mentors and potential investors, while advocating for supportive policies and regulations, and always talking about what actually works in the real world. We have led delegations of business people and investors to Lebanon, Turkey, Egypt, where they met with entrepreneurs. And we are connecting entrepreneurs all over the world with diaspora communities living in the United States who actually want to support projects back in their ancestral homes. I am pleased to announce that Indonesia is one of the 5 countries around the world in which the United States will work to foster angel investor groups and connect them with startups and entrepreneurs. And there is no shortage here in Indonesia, which is why we chose Indonesia. In the run-up to this summit, 500 Indonesians entered our business plan competition, running the gamut from high-tech innovators to more traditional brick-and-mortar entrepreneurs. And many of them are here with us today. One of the prizes went to Indomag, an online payment gateway that offers vouchers for Internet gamers. Another went to Gojek, which offers a motorcycle, taxi, and delivery service to Jakartans frustrated by traffic gridlock, which sounds very familiar for someone who comes from New York. Finalists have found new customers and new investors, and as the minister said, some have already received investments. One has received pledges for $1 million worth